Maybe some people will join us on the Zoom. At the moment, nobody's joined us.
Sorry?
Baruch Hashem, Chaburas Noam Elimelech. Parshas Bamidbar, Baruch Hashem, a new parsha. Chasdei Hashem. We're now. This is I think the 6th Chabura that we've had. Baruch Hashem. And every week we have at least 3 people, so it's Chabura. Because if it's just 2 people, it's a Chaburasashaft. Usually, but I think actually one week, I think you were the only one that was here. 1 week. Baruch Hashem.
Unless there's somebody online.
Unless there was somebody online. It could be somebody who joined up.
But actually, I didn't know about the shit till last week, and now I'm actually coming back all the way from the airport. A whole day running around. I said, I'll go home now, maybe go to the I said, no, I'm going to find a place to park, and I'm going to listen to the shit.
Ashrecha. I think you should be giving the Chabura. I think, So we're on page Reish Tes and Noam Elimelech. Su'u esroish b'nei Yisrael mishpachosam. So Moshe Rabbeinu is told that he needs to, as it were, lift up the heads of Bnei Yisrael, because the Rebbeinu Shalom wants to show them that they're so special, and he wants to count how many. Rashi gives us a medrash that if somebody has a lot of gold coins, he counts the gold coins, another gold coin, because it's special to him, because it's very, very dear. So the Noam Elimelech, in his classical style, is going to talk to us about the tzadik, this concept of the tzadik. Now, several weeks ago when we started, we said that the tzadik can be understood in 2 ways. It could be understood as the tzadik, the one that inspires and is mashpia on people, but it can also be understood as the person that wants to do the right thing. Kulam tzadikim, we're all tzadikim, especially those that are sitting here, and those that are not sitting here are tzadikim in other ways, but we're all tzadikim. Kulam tzadikim. There's also a third way, which recently has become a bit revealed to me, is that the concept of a tzadik means somebody who is there for the others. We discussed in our first Chabura that we had on Parshas Tazria, we mentioned the concept of the tzadik sacrificing his own advancement. I think it was Shemini, maybe it wasn't Tazria. He sacrifices his own advancement in Avodas Hashem in order to help other people. Because he says, why should I be so worried about me coming close to Hashem when my dear brother needs help coming close to Hashem? How can I feel comfortable and good in me coming closer when somebody else is there? So the tzaddik takes from his sacrifice, from his own time, from his own ability. Of course, tzaddik works on himself and he devotes time for one and for the other, but he makes sure not to leave the others behind in the dust. Isnari me'ofa kumi. No, it's said in relation to Shabbos, but it applies across the board. So about this third way of understanding the tzaddik is somebody who's a mashpia. Now, all of us are mashpiyim, one way or the other. All of us are mashpiyim on our household, mashpiyim on the people around us, mashpiyim on the people in our minyan, mashpiyim on the people that we work with, mashpiyim on the people that we see on the street.
I can't be mashpiyim on my bank manager, I don't know why.
Maybe you are. Maybe you don't even know it. Maybe you don't even know it. Every time he thinks about it, he thinks, Mr. Kirschenbaum, what a good fellow. Or maybe when he wants to do something and it does a pasnish, Mr. Kirschenbaum wouldn't do this. I'm Mr. Kirschenbaum's bank manager, I can't do it. We can't know. Who knows? It's what they call machus deskasya. It's a hidden hashpah, it's a hidden influence. It's a very hidden. And some people say, when you want to say a euphemism about somebody who's a tzadik, so you say he's one of the lamas of tzadikim, which is hidden. He's so hidden that even he doesn't know. But in any case, coming back to this, so the concept of the tzaddik here can also be somebody who is a mashpia to the degree that he is a conscious mashpia. He wants to help people. He wants to do good. That's a tzaddik. How is that not a tzaddik? Somebody that's there for other people. The concept, the idea of a tzaddik is the idea of giving the hashpah out, not keeping it for ourselves. Rav Nachman uses a beautiful expression. What he calls is that somebody who helps others with the gifts that he has, with the abilities that he has, the time that he has, whatever. Everybody has different currency. Somebody's currency is this. Somebody's currency is this. Somebody's currency is this. Somebody's currency is this. Everybody has different currencies and how they help other people. But somebody who helps other people and doesn't keep it for himself is called the Bnei Chabura, is free, because what he has is free to go to other people. But when he keeps it for himself, it's a prisoner. He's a slave to himself, because all his talents are slaves to himself, and they are kept in this prison of I and me. That's not a tzaddik. So, without introduction, He said, "Nirali the hine yesh shalosh madregos." There are three ways, avenues, hagoyimim, that will cause le'adam, for an individual sheyiyeh tzadik, that he will have this tendency, a stronger tendency than maybe other people, to be this in the role of a tzadik. Echad, the first, or one of them, mitzad hagilgul shahaya tzadik begilgul rishon, because of the previous incarnation that he lived a lifetime before, or machmazen nikluloi, and that's why it's now easier in this cycle, lios tzadik amata, to now be a tzadik, because it's something that he's used to, a little bit like they say, like riding a bike. So, our neshama is sent down to this world for a certain mission. And mitzvah Hashem, we should all be blessed that the neshama should receive the tikkun in this Gilgul. But unfortunately, it does sometimes happen, even by tzaddikim, that they don't receive that tikkun. I had the most amazing thing a couple of weeks ago. What are we now? We are now Chof Zayin Iyah. So actually a week ago, or just over a week ago, it was the Yotzat of Menachem Mendel of Rimanov. Now Menachem Mendel of Rimanov was one of the 6 primary tzaddikim of the Noam Elimelech. Actually, it's usually grouped into 4, and there are 2 others that are well known. The main group of 4 was the Chayz of Lublin, the Koznitz Magid, otherwise known as the Avodas Yisrael, Ohev Yisrael, sorry. The Abderov, he was known as the. Sorry, the Koznitz Magid was the Avodas Yisrael, and the Koznitz and the Abderov was the Ohev Yisrael. And the Menachem and the Rimanov. Those are the 4 ones. And the 2 others were Reb Naftali Rapshitzer and the Moav Shamash. They were what you would call the 4th generation of the Hasidim. The Baal Shem Tov, Magda Mezrich, the Rebbe Elimelech, along with the brother Reb Zrusha, Vishnu Zalmi of Liadi, etc., many others in that 3rd generation, and they were the 4th. In any case, the Divrei Chaim of Tzanz, who was probably several decades after the Rebbe Mendel passed away, he would always say Tachnon. No matter which Yotzat. Hasidim have a certain minhag that when it's the Yotzat of a Rebbe, we don't say Tachnon. But the Divrei Chaim of Tzanz, he always said Tachnon. Didn't matter when it was the Yotzat of Moshe Rabbeinu, you name it, he said Tachnon. But by the Yotzat of Menachem and Rimanov, he didn't say Tachnon. Why? He said, I don't know so much about the others, but I know it's been said about Menachem and Rimanov that his neshama, when his neshama went up, when he passed away, that was the last journey that his neshama made in this world. It received its absolute tikkun. So if somebody goes through their life and they passed away and they achieved their mission, and the neshama had, achieved its goal, that is a day of simcha, because it's a day of achievement. And you think about all the others that lived before him, the Baal Shem Tov, the Arizal, the Maggid of Mezrich, Tanoam and Amiram, go all the way back from Avin. That's an interesting. It's something to sit with. It's something that's very, very important. And the question begs to be asked: how did he achieve that? How come he achieved what many others apparently couldn't? But he didn't say others didn't. He said he didn't know of others, but that one he did know. So it can happen, says the Rebbe Melech, it can happen that a person, his neshama in this world, has lived a previous lifetime where he was a tzadik. So there's a neshama already, he did the hard work in a previous lifetime. So it wouldn't be fair to make the neshama go through all the hard work again. So therefore he has, of course, nothing is a given, and we all have free will, and it's unfair that somebody is born a tzadik and somebody isn't born a tzadik. But he says particularly the words, Niklu loy li tzadik. He has to make the decision. He has to decide, I want to be this kind of person. And he might, when he starts the journey, think this is going to be difficult, and he goes through it and he says, I feel like I was born for this. I feel familiar. This is something I can't put my finger quite on, but I've been here before. And that is somebody who in a previous lifetime has been a tzadik. Amen. Amen. I mean, the concept of Gilgulim is a frightening thing, but it's also the most amazing thing, because but particularly to those that say, Shaim, what's the difference? Another life, this is all part of one long journey that spans thousands of years.
How do you know that there's a Gilgulim? I mean, how do
we know from the Zohar, we know from the Arizal, and one of the things
it speaks about it, but I mean, do they have evidence? I mean, how do they?
You can only provide evidence with tools that you can measure.
Oh, no.
How would we measure whether it's true or not? I mean, we know I heard a story I was about to say actually about that one of the Rebbes. I heard two stories, and I don't remember who, and I don't remember exactly how. I'm going to try the best of my ability to recollect what I do remember. One of them said that he remembers that he was, I think he said he was a sheep in the flock of Moshe Rabbeinu or something. And somehow he received that sometimes the neshamas really are chelik elikim, but everything that exists around us is infused with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. Not only is it everywhere, meaning everything that has life, this has life, this has life, because if it didn't have life, it would disappear. It would just cease to exist instantaneously. All the molecules would fall apart. They would just evaporate, gone. But everything has also wisdom. If we have time at the end, last week I was discussing with somebody, I spent about 10 minutes talking about an onion.
An onion.
The wisdom from an onion.
Onion has great wisdom. It's healing. You put it in the food, it makes better. Put it in the room, it takes the cold away.
That's precisely the point. But we'll talk about that afterwards. Which means everything, everywhere, everything that exists, in everything there is wisdom. Everything. If you have what they call a God-conscious mind and God-conscious eyes, you see wisdom everywhere, and it speaks to you because that's just how we are.
Because nothing would be created for no reason.
Correct.
So there has to be a purpose for everything, right?
Correct. And for some things, first of all, it's more difficult to discern. And in our lifetimes, we have ups and downs where we see less, and we see more, we see less. Shabbos and Yom Tov is usually easy to see. Relaxed. But coming back to this, I know another thing about the Gilgul that somebody said that he was actually part. This is more amazing. He said he remembers in the last Gilgul, those that have purified the connection between their body and their soul, and they know who's boss, they can live a life where they are really neshamas living an earthly experience, because that's what we all are. But because of the way that Golus is and the life that we have, it's very difficult. And even those that think of the fact that they have a neshama, we already think that's special. But it's that the neshama has a guf, not the other way around. In any case, there were tzaddikim that could somehow tap into the history of the neshama, almost like call it a genetic memory of the neshama, or what it was before. He says like this: I remember that I was part of the Yidden. I was part of the Yidden in the Bamidbar, and during the fight of Moshe Rabbeinu and Korach, and his Hasidim asked him, "No." So of course everybody was behind Moshe. He said, "You know what? We really didn't know. We really didn't know." Can you imagine? Of course, hindsight is 2020, and we're reading it through the lens of the Torah. And we know what happens in the end is bad. But the Yidden that were there, I'm not talking about the Erev Rav. I'm not talking about just regular average Yid. And he'd seen the Nisim of Moshe Rabbeinu. The story of Korach didn't happen so far into the story of the Midbar. It was quite early on. So you were dealing with the significant majority of adults having witnessed all these Nisim. Not one, not two, the significant majority. So if the significant majority believed, and you're coming to the Machlekes of Moshe and Korach, and you hear, well, we didn't know. Didn't know. It just shows that nothing can be taken for granted, and the nisyonis that we now look on the Deir HaMidbar having, how could they do this and how they could do that? Until you're there, you don't know. You don't know.
But I know that there's Gilgulim. I just don't know how you can prove, but I can see it's just a moon there, talking the Zohar, but there's definitely Gilgulim.
They're all different.
I can tell you a quick story.
Go ahead.
There's a guy, rabbi called Rabbi Yino. This rabbi, he was a modern guy, and he went to the army, and a nagmash, not a nagmashes,
What's that?
A nagmash is like a tank.
People's carrier. It looks like a tank, but it just carries people.
Okay.
It's like a tank.
Right. Without ammunition.
Our own ammunition.
Right.
And this guy came out, and the door of the nagmash hit him in the head, and he was in coma for a year. Out. It wasn't awake. After a year, he woke up. He started speaking things from the Zohar and other Mauritians, like deep soaring. And the Bork Rabbanim, and his type was speaking correct stuff. He didn't learn it because the whole year was unconscious. And he comes from an untrained person. I know the rabbi, the guy who used to come to London. And anyway, that's what happened to him. And he went to the Lubavitcher many years ago. He said, you be a shliach of mine, but don't dress like a Lubavitcher. Dress jeans, normal shirt, and everything. Be a modern, and you'll be Makapi, and you'll have a give to help people. And this guy came to London. He's a friend of mine. He came to London someone's bar mitzvah, and when I met him, I was appointed to be his assistant. He didn't like to mix with people too much. He dealt with people.
This is the same person that had the experience? Or
no,
somebody else. Okay, right.
This story.
Right.
And this person used to deal with people, the bracha, then he used to go like to be private. But he liked to be with me. He used to sense things in trees, sense things around him, sense energies, forces, Gilgulim. He used to sense. I drive with him, say, stop, I want to talk to someone. That's what guy. He had a kippah shruga, and Billy had an earring with a diamond in it. He said, this is the diamond, this is some Cabalistic thing. Anyway, I get to a story. So whilst he was here, he was asked to do a Cabalistic to help people who have problems. So he has a certain knowledge. He looks at people's mezuzah, magnified 100 times, and you can see according to what's on there, what's going on in the person's house and what they need to do. He's not a Baba, not a Kabbalah. He doesn't give like brachas like Kabbalah. He just gives ideas, just opinions, gives his advice. And I was appointed to be his assistant. He doesn't speak English very well. And also, he doesn't like asking people for money, but he needs to make fun also. So that was my job as well. So we sat in someone's house, and just one of the stories was a girl comes in. Didn't used to come in. He used to look at the mezuzah, and if something was complete and not complete, he used to say that this is missing, that's missing, to do anyway. One girl comes in, girl from London. I know guys know, she lives not far from me, and I'm married and everything. And she was at the time, she came to ask for a blessing. He looked at the mezuzah, he looked it up, magnified 100 times. He looks at this, he gets shocked. What does she ask for? What would you like from the rabbi? I want a nice Jewish man, I want to get married. My whole self was sort of Kiri, you're standing between the Kiri, you should do if he told me which simanim to then explain which letters why anyway, but he said Tegillah. She both you speak Hebrew. She can't meet a Jewish chassan until she stops having an affair with her professor in university. I said,
Your job suddenly became a lot more difficult.
At the table, you will say, piercing eyes. Wow. I told her this, listen, the rabbi said, you can't really have a Jewish friend, a nice host until you stop having an affair with your professor. She started to cry, rise out. I felt so bad. I wanted to give her a hug, crying, the whole tissue box, and crying. And he's looking further at this. Oh my God, what else is he going to say?
Aye.
She had a burnt nose. Her nose had a mark of like a burn, a skin burnt.
That's,
It's like a mark. Which you don't know, because she's such a nice girl. And he said, tell her that in the previous life, she's a Gilgulim, that's what I'm talking about, a Gilgulim. In the previous life, previous life, she's a student in some high, she's a 50th year, I don't know, some high degree level, intelligent girl. I don't, you won't believe me. He had no effort. You know what no effort is? She used to have to commit adultery with other married men.
Okay.
So I said, the rabbi said that in your previous life, and she's crying out, what did I do? She believed, she knew, she felt. I saw it in my eyes. She felt that she was a Gilgulim. I remember now. What did he say he did? You were a adulteress who slept with married men. Oh my goodness! She starts crying. She was like hysterical. I didn't know what to do. And he goes further.
Aye.
So the reason she has this burnt nose didn't happen when she was alive. She was born like this. I don't know. I didn't know. How did we know that? It was true. Tell her she had that because the sin of adultery in Hebrew is tinaf, lo tinaf, and also tenaf. So because she did the avera of lo tinaf, ten is not af. That's why she was born with that simon on the nose. She probably looks out in the mirror, she cries, and burnt nose like a flame. She's crying her eyes. I said, there is one other good news, which I think we now found out why you have a burnt nose. She stopped crying. Were you born like that? I went to check. Yes, I was. She was right. How do you know that? It could have happened in life.
Right.
It happened because you did adultery, as you knew that before, and I said before. And Hebrew, adultery is lo tin af. It's one of the 10 commandments. And 10 af is give a nose. So because you have to come back to life with a simon on your nose, and you don't have to, she stopped to cry. She received it. She understood it. She believed it. That's why. Now I understand. Now I remember. This Gilgul was like she was seeing her Gilgul is. I see it, and she stopped crying. And the rabbi said, I don't know how she understood this. She accepted this, and she knew what she had to do, and she asked her what to do, because the Mezuzah says that he doesn't Mezuzah Papa. I just said, what do you suggest? I asked him, he said, tell her she needs to not go back to university at all. Go in the morning to get her books, and simply not go back, go to a different Shudi Masliach. I said, this is what you have to do. And she did it. She went back early in the morning to get her books, and she never stepped foot in the university again. She went to another university, and he said to me, over the weekend, we had a person coming, follow them up. This one he said, wait 4 months, and then tell me what happened. Well, 4 months later, she went to a new university. Don't know what happened with her old affair, that I didn't ask about that. But we do know that she got engaged to someone from this area. She got married, and she now has about 4 or 5 kids, all from kids, with Tayala from kids, very from people, Sephardi people, very from people. And he knew this. He detected this. And she knew it, that she was a guilty.
She knew it deep down.
That's why she stopped crying. He told her. Can you imagine telling some of these things? This is Chaim Yunan. And he has this ability. It's just from the mezuzahs. And he saw this, not from Cabalistic things. He just saw me simonim. And just real quick, Hawaii. Once someone else came in, and completely I'd never seen it before. A guy with a couple, an Indian guy. He looked at his mezuzah. He said, wow. He showed me that in the shin, on the bottom, there was a clear Magen David, as if someone would scratch Magen David out. But you can't scratch it, it's 100 times magnified, little shin. But he saw a Magen David.
As the ink dries.
Yeah, but he said, this is a little Magen David, tiny one, 100 times. That this person is direct descendant from David HaMelech. He can have whatever he wants. He'll be a very rich person, if he's not rich already, and he can own all of London. What else is he asking for? He also wanted a Kala. A Jewish guy said, he can have that, not him, he can get it, but he has to make an effort to keep Shabbos. How is he doesn't keep Shabbos? He's wearing a couple. And tell me he has to put, you should try to start putting tefillin out. So I spoke to this guy, very intellectual guy. I said, I never was brought up religious. He doesn't have religious parents, but he doesn't mind trying to stop doing Shabbos things to meet a girl. And feeling that I had tefillin. The rabbi said to Gilgulim, I'm buying a pair of tefillin. I'm getting it tefillin next time, you'll have tefillin for him. I told him, I can pay. He said, no, go hit the present, okay. And then he came back, and then the rabbi, my job was going to walk these guys out. He was going to make a donation. I was trying to get something out for it. He never asked for money. And then I said, I walked him out, thank you, how much do I owe? He said, you don't know anything, but you want to get the price of a mezuzah, about 70, 80 pounds again. Is there anything else I can do for the rabbi to get for him? So if you wanted to, for a little few extra pounds, the rabbi would take the person's name and put it on kind of a cloth and make sort of simonim, some kamea, and give it to the person. He asked such a kamea as well. I told the rabbi he wants a kamea. So he said, okay, sit with him outside, right? You can't wait here to do it alone, okay. I sit with him outside, and I saw his watch. I know he looked watches. It looked stainless steel, but it was actually platinum. It said Patek Philippe on it, and had a thing on the side, which means a minute repeater that goes ding, ding, dong with it. Anyway, it was about 100,000 baht. I said, I must, and it's leather band, no diamonds. He said, you have very tasty watches. I said, you know watches? Yeah, a little bit. He takes it off like it was a herring, gives it to my hand. I said, I knew it's an expensive watch. And he said, I tell him it's very unique pieces. I tell him exactly the model. I said, well, you know what? He gives me his card. He says, I have many watches like this lying around. I'd like to sell something. Give me a call sometime. Anyway, in the meantime, the thing is finished. It's correctly created. And I give it to him, 10 pounds. He goes. I checked his card. I didn't know who he was. But anyway, the following day, I checked him out, who he is. He's one of the wealthiest Indian Jewish billionaires. He owns Piccadilly. He owns so many properties. And the rabbi told him, follow him up 30 days. After he gets the film, he got the film back a month later. 30 days later, he said he started keeping Shabbat, wherever he could, and he started putting out tefillin. A month later, he met a girl, not this someone, he got married as well. So this rabbi had the koyach from reading the mezuzah. But the Gilgulim, I wanted to say that there's definitely this girl is a proof Where's the tzadik? He lives not far from here.
For this alone, it was worth it you came. For this alone. Right, let's move on. Okay, shkoyach. Okay, so the first way is because the tzadik is in touch. Clearly, there's a certain genetic memory that every neshama has to remember what it was before. So what's the second one? Machmas schus avosav shayu tzadikim, because his ancestors they were tzadikim, or machmas schusam, and because of their schus, because of their merit, chayilkim lohem kavod v'pamalish al malash shiyu b'nei tzadikim. Because it's improper that the descendants of tzadikim should not be tzadikim. It's the ancestors can't control hundreds of years later, many generations of what's going to be with their descendants. And so because it's improper that the descendants should not be tzaddikim, therefore, from Shemayim, they give a certain ease for the person that when he chooses to be a tzaddik, it will be easier. Gimel, the third one, Machmas Hashem Yisbach Bohu Goza B'Briyas Ha'olam. This is one of the most amazing ones. Goza B'Briyas Ha'olam She'yeh Kach V'Kach Shemos. Ruvain V'Kach V'Kach Shemes Shimon. Hashem decided, when the world was created, there are going to be so many Avrahams. There are going to be so many Yitzchaks. There are going to be so many Avraham Yitzchaks. There are going to be a certain amount of people with this name, which means what? Which means that when a person's neshama comes back, so therefore, there can't be a new neshama with that name, and therefore, if they're going to give that name, this person's neshama has to have been of another person that had the same name, another tzadik that had the same name. That's why you have to be so careful with giving names, because it's not just Ruach HaKodesh. Of course, it's Ruach HaKodesh, but it's important who the person's name after, because it could be that Hashem said there can be no more neshamas with that name, and therefore I have to go and use the neshama from that person to bring it back in this world. And so I have to make sure that who they bring, because we can't know if it's the last time that name could be used, the last time the neshama was given. So this is the reason why this person has got the tendency to be a tzadik, and therefore not as a tendency, but the ease that when they decide to become good and decide to be a tzadik, decide to be either the tzadik of the community, or the tzadik within the group, or the tzadik amongst those that they influence. The light, the divine light of Shefa, of the tzadik, the divine light of kindness that shines out in the upper worlds, and therefore Gilgul. Okay, so let's stop for a second. Let's take a break. Let's take a pause. There's a star. A star usually means you have to take a pause. So what he said was quite amazing. What he said was that because it could be that Hashem said, I'm not bringing down another neshama to this world, as in a new one, with this name, and therefore we have to use a neshama that existed before with that name. Therefore, this person, he's connected to the previous consciousness of the neshama. I'm using terms because in English we don't have any better words for it. There are other words which are more descriptive. In fact, the levels of chiyus in this world, the levels of consciousness or life, is nefesh, chaya, yechida, neshama, and there's a fifth one, ruach. Yeah. Nefesh, ruach, neshama, yechida. Right. Exactly. That's the order from this world and up. So nefesh is the basic concept of life within something. And then as you go higher and higher, there are higher forms of consciousness, and according to the forms of consciousness, when a person doesn't act, they will reach higher and higher places, because it would be improper for somebody on a lower level of consciousness, of God consciousness, let's put it that way, of consciousness of the divine in this world, for their actions to affect very high places. And therefore, according to the level that they're on, that is how they affect things. And so therefore, when this neshama is in this world, the light of this tzadik shines to him and takes a shining, to borrow an English phraseology, to this neshama, and that's what becomes easy. Okay, so I move on. And the difference. Between the first type of tzadik, or the second type of tzadik, because of the merits of his ancestors. So what's the difference between the first and the second? Because the tzadik in the first instance, where he was in a previous lifetime and has come back, so that people come to him for advice. Because, as you mentioned, the tzaddik that came out of the coma, his neshama was in a world, and he was exposed to all the truth and all of the knowledge, and so he's come back to this world. In this case, it's not through a coma, but the same idea with this kind of insight and knowledge that when somebody comes to him, he knows what to say, because he knows the emes and he knows deep within how things are. But v'shama hakol, and he already heard mash asad liyos, what will happen ba'olam v'lochein yesh lo yokeach litin le'et. So that's why he has the power to give these suggestions to people. The tsaddik was a tsaddik because of the merit of his ancestors. Lo kain hu v'madregazu. He is not on the same level, and therefore he doesn't have that clarity. And this is what the pasuk in Tehillim, Parak Ein Gimel, pasuk Chav Dalet says, "Ba'atzascha tzancheni." With your counsel, tzancheni, you should guide me. V'chakavot tikacheni. What does that mean? Perish shahay mispalel al atzmai. The Elimelech does for himself. Sheyeh tzadik oy b'madrega zu. He should be a tzadik either because in the previous Gilgul he was a tzadik, and therefore it should be easier, and therefore he should be able to counsel people, because David HaMelech was the malchus in this world, and he had to guide people, and he had to tell people how to live. And people came to him with different shilas, and they came to him, with niddah shilas, and with this shilah, and with that shilah, and he had to paskin for them. So he wanted that this kind of counsel should come from a very high place. Or that even if he's in the second level, as to say that he's a tzadik because of his ancestors, so not because he lived a previous lifetime and therefore has previous knowledge, still he should be privy to upper das, to hashpah, to give the right counsel and guidance. And this is what it means. What does it mean? Lift up the heads of Klal Yisrael, of the Yidden. Hashem is Baruch Hu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Amar Lamesh Rabbeinu Alav HaShalom. L'Hal says, Kol Bnei Yisrael, Kol Echad Lefi Madrigosei. Bring them all up. What do you mean bring them all up? Echad Lemishpachaisam. Meaning, Hainu Madrigas Tzadik Machmas Zochoy V'Koved Avaisav. So, it's not in the order that the Noam Elimelech said in the beginning. So the first thing is Lemishpachaisam, because of their families, because of where they came from. Tell them, you come from tzaddikim. You come from Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. So you definitely have the ability to be a tzadik because you come from tzaddikim. Or you come from this shevet that did this great thing, or that shevet that did that great thing. Somewhere along the line, there'll be a tzaddik. But base, the B'mispar Shemos, the second way is a B'mispar Shemos, according to the amount of people that HaKadosh Baruch Hu had to create with the neshamas that would have that name. So there couldn't be more than, let's say, 5 people with the name Moshe throughout the whole history, and therefore anybody else besides those 5 people are Gilgulim from the original 5 Moshes. They are not new neshamas. So that is a B'mispar Shemos. And Gimel, the third one, Legulguloisam, according to their Gilgul. What does it mean? Hainu tzadik alidei Gilgul Rishon shahaya gamkein tzadik. So that he was before in a previous lifetime a tzadik. Be'es hahi v'kalahovin. It's easy to actually. This one is easy to understand. When he says kalahovin, it's not always so easy to understand. But this is an amazing thing, because if we think about it, and we want to do a mitzvah. Some mitzvahs are hard. Some mitzvahs are easy. Most likely because in the previous lifetime these mitzvahs were mitzvahs that we did frequently. And that is why we ascend in this world. When I once heard it said that when you do a mitzvah and you know it's not so easy, it's a sign that this is where my work is. Because otherwise it would be easier.
Now I know what to tell the bank manager.
That's right. Very good. Very good. So we've got so finish this piece. We've got a few minutes. So I was saying how I think I might have told you about this. I was saying how the concept of Hashem of there being life everywhere. Hashem is everywhere. Sorry. So there's everywhere, not just in life, but there's wisdom from everything to learn. And I was saying how I learned wisdom from an onion. How I learn wisdom from an onion? From an onion. Because when you have a machlokas and you have 2 opinions, or more than 3 opinions, and if you've got a room of 2 Jews, you usually have 10 opinions, then it's I used to always think that Shevem Panim La Torah, the concept, there's 70 perspectives in Torah, 70 faces, 70 perspectives. And as in, if you have a circle, then or whichever shape it is, or square or thing, and from depending where you are in the room, it's different shade, different color, different this, different that. But it's actually, you can read the word panim as panim. There's 70 inside, 70 layers, one within the next one, within the next one, the next one, the Torah, which means what? Anybody who goes through the parasha every year, you see in the parasha things you didn't see the year before. And next year, you'll see things you didn't see this year. And the year after that, things you didn't see the previous years. Why is that? So we know that the Mishnah says, keep turning it over because everything is in it. But it's because throughout the year, we go through another Shabbos, we go through another Yontif, we go through a difficulty, we go through a Simcha, every day is different. No 2 days are the same. If your days are the same, something's not right. And so therefore, when we go through another year, we're a different person. We are ever changing. We're not really ever changing, but the hester, the thickness, the murkiness, the mud between how we see ourselves and how we really are gets thinner and thinner and thinner. And my bracha to everybody, including myself, is that by the time that we leave this world, there should be nothing in between, and we should see us for ourselves and others for who we are. But that effect is the same. And somebody said to me, just like an onion. And I sat there, just like an onion. I didn't say like an onion, but I thought of the words just like an onion. And suddenly I said, you don't even know what you're saying. You helpfully pointed out before. An onion you put in food to give it more flavor, and an onion what was the thing that you said?
You put it in the room, it takes away the cold.
It takes away the cold.
Yeah.
All these things. I don't know of another
Yeah.
vegetable or fruit that does that. I don't know of any other food that does that in the world. I know that Coke can take off the rust of coins, which is not a very good thing. Yes, but
it's a known thing already for many years. If you have a cold,
You put it next to you.
I can tell you it worked for me, Baruch Hashem, because during COVID time, I had it in my room. I went every single day to give out food to people's houses from the middle of COVID. Every day, pre-cooked meals to families who needed it. And I would wear a mask if I came close. And Baruch Hashem, but I did the onions, I did lemons, I took lemons, someone told me about the onions. If you want to smell the frankincense, and Baruch Hashem, I never even sneezed. And what do you call those injections?
Injections, yeah. Moderna, whatever it was.
I had all of 0, Baruch Hashem, not one.
Vaccine.
Not
Vaccine.
one.
Very good.
Wow.
0. But I had the onion.
Yeah.
Every day there's an onion.
And that proves it. Why? Because an onion, it's layers. Yes, it's layers. But it's because when you cut an onion, why do you cut an onion? You're cutting through all these experiences and everything that you go through. And you might not even realize it, and you cry. I don't know why you're crying. But there's so much within there, because an onion, we are all onions. All us here, and we have layers upon layers upon layers.
Previous lives.
And previous Gilgulim added and added and added. And the deep, and like your story you were telling, you said, tell her this, and tell her this, another layer of an onion, another layer of an onion. And she was crying more and more, cutting more through the onion, tears coming down. You'll hear it afterwards, amazing story. But that because you're all onions. And then I said, you know what? Even further, the first time in the Torah where it has the word based tzadik lamed is by Betzalel. Betzael kelo yisa. What does it mean Betzael kelo yisa? I said, Mevin dava, mitoich dava. I'm saying one thing from within another thing, from within another thing. Betzalel had the wisdom to be able to understand and see and connect all the alefes and create a physical dwelling for the Shekhinah. How does that make sense? Because it's what you don't see. It's what you don't see that Betzalel put through. And somebody said to me, no, the first place that it says Beis Tzadik Lamed is B'Tselem Elikim. I said, even better. Why? Because the concept is that we go through life and we always ask what? What is this? What is that? What does this person do? What kind of house is this person? Not who is he? Who is he? Who is this person? Let me get to know this person. We stop by the what? When I look at this pen, this pen writes very nice, very pen. I'm not particularly influenced. I start thinking about this pen. Wow, it's amazing. And how's it working? And you twist it, and the person invented this. Wow, how did they come up with this idea? Because everything in your life, you can either stop at what, or you can go beyond to the. They both start with the letter mem. Betzael mem, in the shadow of mem. They both start in mem. Where you end up is another story. Do you end up in the mud? Do you stop? These scientists, they witness the most amazing thing in Hashem's creations. But they're not nishba. Why? Because they just stop. I know A, B, and C, and D. I figured it out. The same thing goes for relationships. When is a relationship with somebody over? When you say, I figured him out, I figured her out. That's when the beginning of shalom bayis problems start. When you think you know your husband, you know your wife, because I figured them out. No. If you stop there, there's no curiosity anymore. There's nothing left. And it's a lesson for everywhere, with the Rebbeinu Shalom as well. That's why people are very often upset with the Rebbeinu Shalom, or sometimes even happy with the Rebbeinu Shalom. You should always be happy with the Rebbeinu Shalom, but you're upset with the Rebbeinu Shalom because you think you've figured out, Hashem wants to punish me. This happened to me, it's so bad. Why does Hashem have to do this to me? Ask yourself, why? Yeah, why? You can stay by why, you don't need an answer. But the moment you think you have an answer, that is when it kicks in, that it's so difficult. In Yiddish, there's an expression, for nakasha shtalt man nicht. You don't die from a question. What does it mean? When you leave it by a question, you can stay alive, because you're still exploring. You're still looking. And all this, from an onion. From an onion. It's to show that there's das everywhere. Those that want to access it, can access it. Shkoyach for attending. Absolutely amazing.